Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, and we are back for another Sisterwise review. Pardon my voice in advance, as well as my tone. I really probably should not be up here, but I want to make sure that you guys at least have one more video because I don't know if I'm going to be able to post for a while because I'm battling something. I'm thinking it may be sinuses, but I haven't had one of my sinus headaches yet, so it might actually be a cold. But we're gonna try to get through this, and hopefully I don't cough, because when I cough, it sounds gross and it hurts. So let's hope that that doesn't happen, okay? It's been 3 weeks since Nancy came over to the house to meet with the adults. So now they're trying to navigate life after finding out everything in regards to the catfish. Cody says that he wants to give Mary confidence that they'll work this out, but he really doesn't know how to. And I feel like that's because at this point, he's preoccupied with the catfish aspect of it. When I feel like at the core, this all started because of the issues that they were having. It started because Mary is lonely, and her loneliness led her to seeking out that attention, that affection, that love that she was not getting from him. So we could talk all we want to about the catfish, but the catfish came because of the issues that she was having with Cody. Bald Eagle says that the session with Nancy and the family went pretty well, but it's one of those things where you don't know what the future holds because there's still a lot more that needs to be said. And that's true. It also seems like there's a lot more that needs to be found out. He says that he doesn't know where he's at, but he knows that they're going to eventually work it out, and he wants them to be kind while they do so. I think that's more so for him because I think he was unkind to Mary, but he's going to say, let us be kind. That way it makes it seem like he's taking accountability as well, even though I think it's something that he very rarely does. This version of Cody sitting here talking in confessional seems nice, but actions do speak louder than words. I feel like he said the right things at the right times, but did he do them? I don't think he did. Mary says they were working on things and they're trying to figure out now how to get through it and come back together strong as a family. I don't know if they ever even were able to come back together momentarily because I didn't watch a lot of these seasons, but I feel like watching this and seeing things, there's so many things that I didn't realize happened. So maybe at some point they did get back together. Y'all let me know down below. There was a lot that happened with this family that I didn't even know happened. Like I didn't know that Aspen had moved in with Robin. And I knew about McKelty working in the pawn shop, but now I'm like, oh, okay. So this pawn shop wasn't even one in Vegas. It was somewhere else, but we'll get to that. Janelle says that the best thing that came out of all of this is seeing that Mary felt like a square peg, and that after Leon left, Mary was at the stage where she didn't quite know where she fit. And I just don't understand why it took for this catfish situation to happen. I can appreciate Janelle saying this, but this is not new news. We saw them sitting out in the park with that other family that came, and we saw them talking, and one of the things Mary spoke about was her concerns about Leon leaving and where Mary fit in the puzzle. So this is not new news. She made it clear that she was scared about this. It just seems like, as I'm watching this, that they tuned out a lot of Mary's needs. Like if Mary needed something, that they kind of were like, okay, we hear you, but are we going to work towards it to make sure that your needs are satisfied? And I'm not saying that that's in everything, because there's times that Mary got things that she desired that may not have been fair to the other wives. But I'm talking about this situation in terms of her emotions. Janelle says Mary's going to have to do a lot of work. But now Janelle says that she's at the point where she sees that she has to do, Janelle does, more than just tell Mary that they want her and they want her to be in that family. She has to show Mary that she fits in the family. And I'm like, okay, Janelle, That is fair. That's what I'm talking about. Show her that she matters too. Cody said he and Mary have a lot of things to work out, but right now he needs to focus on all the other things that they have going on in their life with their kids. So this is a segue into the girls. So the girls are moving. Aspen and McKelty have lived together at this point for a year and have decided that for right now they need their own space. According to Christine, McKelty is a free bird and Aspen is tired of mothering her. So we get a quick sample of this because we see them putting things in the vehicle. And Aspen is like, close the door. There's stuff in there. You don't want to leave that open for somebody to just grab it. Whereas McKelty is like, why we got to close the door? So this is just a little quick, sample of how Aspen, good God, I sound horrible. How Aspen mothers. So the parents joke about how Aspen talks to McKelty, and as they're joking, I'm like, they've still kept this dynamic over the years. So Aspen is going to be moving back home, but not to her mother's house. She's going to be moving to Robin's home. She's moving to Robin's house because her and Christine bump heads sometimes when it comes to mothering. So Aspen says they get along fine, and she wants to keep it that way because she doesn't want to mother her siblings anymore. And I've seen it down in the comment section as well as other places. Like, these moms were good. They're great. I'm not going to sit there and take that away from Christine. But we forget sometimes that a lot of these kids were parentified, which is sometimes why these adults are having issues parenting them. Because one minute you want them to be responsible kid adults where they take on certain roles that the adult should be taking on. And then the next, you want them to stay in a kid's place. That's confusing. And because it's something that Aspen and Logan had did for so long, I think that it's something that just comes natural to them that they've had to try to turn off. So she says for their sake of their relationship, she's going to go to Robin. So Christine said it took her a long time to decide, Aspen, exactly what she was going to do in terms of an apartment. And then she finally got a call from Aspen, and Aspen says, I think I'm going to move back home, but not with you. And when Christine said it, you can hear the hurt in her voice. I'm like, man, that had to hurt Christine. Meanwhile, the bird was probably loving every minute of it because the bird really, really does want to be more like Christine. And she probably thought, like, this is yet another way for me to get another one of Christine's kids to like me. So the bird feels like it's a good thing because Aspen will not only get to know her better, but she can get to know Aspen better, as well as Aspen getting to know her kids better. And I'm like, okay, the fact that you're sitting here saying that this is going to be a great time for you all to get to know each other after all these years just makes me feel like you all did not interact a lot. They show time and time again that a lot of what we saw was for the sake of the cameras. But she admits to being concerned, Robin does, that Christine may have a hard time with it. So Christine says, yeah, it's going to be a little hard. I can respect Christine's honesty in that. I can respect her honesty in that because I feel like that's only natural. Christine says she knows that Aspen is going to have a really cool relationship with Robin. And instead of coming to her, she's going to go to Robin. And she says she knows this because this is something that she did when she lived with her other mother. And I feel like that's only natural. There's a bunch of things that my mother will never know. And it's not because I don't trust my mom. It's just because at that period in my life, when I was living with my auntie, she was there for me. So we discussed certain things and I didn't have to, hear some of the kickback that I knew I would have got had it had been me having that discussion with my mother. My aunt was a lot more understanding, whereas my mom used to be the type that just as soon as you tell her something, it's like, rah. So, try not to laugh. So I can see why, a lot of kids feel better telling people different things. My niece tells me stuff that I know she doesn't tell her mom. It's just how it works. Anyways, it doesn't make you love them any less, though. And that's basically what Aspen is saying. So Cody says Aspen moving in with Robin is a part of a polygamy perk because she gets to move in with someone who isn't so overly invested. I didn't know but it kind of felt like a dig to me with him saying that. You all tell me what you think. I don't understand why he had to say so overly invested and why he couldn't just say invested, because sometimes Cody does little things that let you know he's digging. So we have McKelty, who will not be returning home. Instead, she's going to be living in an apartment in St. George, Utah, because she decided that she no longer desires to go to UNLV. She says college is hard and she's not ready to grow up. Now, you say that you're not ready to grow up and college is hard. What do you think marriage is? Because she couldn't finish school, but she can go and get married. And I don't know what the timeline is, but if I remember correctly, she met Tony through the pawn shop, right? Tell me down below. As I said, I didn't see these. I do not think college is for everyone. So I'm not knocking her for deciding that it wasn't for her, but don't use the excuse that you're just not ready to grow up, when getting an apartment on your own is growing up. So you're doing certain things that would be considered to be grown up things, but you don't want that educational aspect of it. Just my thought. Sorry, y'all, if I'm off today. She'll be working at the pawn shop for their friend Chris. You guys remember Chris. He's the guy that they were supposed to be getting the business loan from for Sister Wives Closet, that said that they would do it, but we never heard anything else about it. That friend. Janelle says it worries her when she hears all these kids talking about taking time off, and that Maddie is kind of gearing towards the same thing. It would worry me too. Just because I was supposed to take a year off after I had my son and pursue my master's, and here we are. My son's about to go to college, and I stopped at a bachelor's. And I did exactly what Janelle said, which is get comfortable with receiving a certain amount of money, and you feel like you're on top of the world and all those things. So I get why she's concerned. Janelle says she knows how it is because you start working a little job, you get a little bit of money, and it's great. Cody says he's just crossing his fingers that she'll be out there for a couple months and then she'll come back and she'll finish college. I don't think that happened. We have Garrison. He was 17 and he wants to go to the National Guard. He let his dad know that he just got back from the recruiter. And recruiter's like, Cody's like, why didn't you go with me? And he said, that's embarrassing to basically bring my parents. So he sits down with Janelle and his dad. Cody lets us know that, he did advocate for the National Guard because it's part-time and you still have access to the GI Bill. Garrison wants to go to basic training, and then go to college while he's doing recruit training. I don't know how that works. I'm not going to try to act like I do. Basically, the parents want him to have his degree before he serves, but he wants to do it simultaneously. So Cody tells us that college was never on Garrison's radar, that the military was. And I'm like, okay, well, if it wasn't on his radar, is he going just because y'all are making him? Or is he going because he wants to? Because everyone isn't college material, and that's okay. Cody doesn't like the idea of this because he says we are currently at war, and they're normally the first to go. He says soldiers are going to see danger. He would rather him be an officer, but the officers see it too. They want him to understand being in the military is a sacrifice, which it is. Hunter walks in and hears a plan, tells him that the National Guard is the first to deploy. Garrison feels like eventually everybody will be deployed, so it doesn't really matter to him. Cody talks about how eager Garrison is to just get out there and fight. Ooh. Janelle says Hunter is pursuing a different path, and he doesn't understand why Garrison wouldn't take a route like becoming an officer or something similar to what he's doing with the Air Force. Cody is nervous about him being shipped off, but they agreed to sign off on it. So he'll be tested, and if he passes, he'll be in basic training over the summer. We then get back to McKelty, and we see them packing up all her stuff in the truck. And the wife's joking about how McKelty keeps a whole bunch of stuff and doesn't like to throw things away, and she's a lot like Cody. Cody does things like keep shoe boxes and empty boxes and ammo and things of that nature, which is why Christine did not struggle in later seasons to pack up all his stuff that was in that garage when she told him she wanted a divorce because he keeps empty boxes, apparently. Robin walks up to the place, to them packing, and first thing you see Christine do is run over and say, "Oh, hey, baby girl," and talking to her stomach. I didn't say it in other episodes, but Christine does this a lot. You see Christine touching this baby bump all the time. So how can Christine be such a crappy sister wife? We see her arrive in St. George, where Chris and his wife and the kids are there to help her unpack. They ask her if she ever worked at a pawn shop before, which makes me wonder, how did she get this job? Because these are all questions that you would ask while you're interviewing someone. So was this just because of the father, or was this them just shooting a scene? They get her all moved in. Good to go. Back on Mary. We see Mary, who is heading to the doctor's office to get the results from her testing. We're reminded about how 6 or 7 months ago, she kept rapidly losing weight. They did a scan where they found something that could be cancerous. So 3 months later, she's finally getting the results. I don't understand that 3-month timeline, but that's what it said on the thing, so that's what we're going to go with. That's a long wait, in my opinion. She says she's a private person, so that's why she never told Cody or her sister wives that she's going to the doctor. And I'm like, okay, so you're filming this for an audience of thousands or millions, and you didn't tell them? How private are you? This is part of the reason, Mary, why you're having some of the problems that you're having. You should be openly talking about some of your concerns. So a few episodes ago, when I was complaining, saying how Cody didn't even come with her to get the testing done, and basically now I have to take it back because he didn't go because she didn't tell him. She said it right here that she didn't tell the family. For all we know, she might have not told him about it at all. He might have found out about it the same time that we did when watching the show. She talks about how her sister died 9 years ago from colon cancer. So whenever she gets these types of tests done, she worries. Completely understandable. She goes to the office where she's told everything is normal, that what they ended up seeing was an extremely small fibroid on her uterus and there is no cancer. So Mary is really excited about that. She then tells us that she feels like she was having issues with the rapid weight loss and stomach issues because of stress from the catfish. She says that she stressed and cried and couldn't eat because of all the stuff that she was keeping in. And stress can do a number on your body if you aren't careful. Like you hear about people getting ulcers. They're now also linking cancer, certain forms of cancer to stress. Of course, high blood pressure, heart attacks. Like there's a lot of things that are linked to stress. So we do all need to find better ways of managing that. Mary says she is still feeling lonely, but she's taking steps to fix it. And I'm like, okay, this is not a quick fix, especially if you're doing some of the same patterns that you normally would do. Example, going to this doctor by yourself. We get back to McKelty. It's her first day at work. She is receiving everything at this pawn shop, from video game consoles to skateboards to watches to jewelry that didn't work out. We then see Cody comes in and he's going to mess with McKelty. So he wants to trade in his watch for a TV. He claims that the watch is worth $800. She takes it back to Chris. Chris says he's taking advantage of you. This thing is not worth no $800. He's comes out with her. Cody says, how much do you think it's worth, McKelty? She said, well, maybe 400, but if we give you anything, it would be 3 and we'll sell it for 4. I'm like, McKelty, you're not supposed to tell all the tricks, honey. We find out that this watch is a gift from one of their wives, which we later find out is Robin. At first, I thought it was Mary. But then as they kept talking about it, I was like, no, it couldn't be her. Christine says, was that a gift from one of your wives? And he gets annoyed with Christine for asking if it was a gift from one of his wives. They're joking around about the watch. And he's talking about how if he drops it in Lake Titicaca, that it would still be great because of how heavy it is and all these other things. Basically, it doesn't really sound like he likes the watch. We find out that the wife who got it for him doesn't even know that he wants to sell it. And he's like, I'm not sure if I told her that I wanted to get rid of it. Just like Mary didn't know that he wanted to melt down and get rid of that ring. So Christine says, I'm going to be in trouble with the wife if they air this, because for you to use the watch money to pawn the watch and then buy me a TV, that's going to be a problem. He says he felt like it was reasonable, and the person who gave it to him is a reasonable person. So then when he says that, Christine already automatically knows he's talking about his favorite wife, the bird. And she goes, oh, so basically it was Robin before she was pregnant, and they laugh about it. So he ends up buying the TV, not doing the whole watch thing, for like $640, $600 in cash, and then 38 something on the credit card. And in confessional, we see them further discuss the situation. Janelle says you should not do that because that's a sentimental thing. Mary says when you get rid of something a wife gets you, it means that you kind of don't care for that wife anymore, which talks about that ring further. I wish Mary would brought up that ring. Mary just never, she let Cody look like he was more innocent than he was. Even though we saw some of the cracks, she allowed him to get away with a lot. Christine agrees. He claims he never intended to sell the watch. You see Christine hug McKelty goodbye and she cries. She says when the kids went to school, like Aspen, Maddie, Leon, and Logan, they grew up right away. Like they went away, came back, and she could see a difference in them. But with McKelty, she didn't. And she feels like that's because she lived with Aspen. So she wants to see her grow into her own person on her own. We then have Janelle, who took Garrison to the airport yesterday to do his physical for the National Guard. He comes back tonight for an announcement to make to the entire family. They walk in and Cody says, this is Private First Class Robert G. Brown. And I was like, Robert G. Brown? Who is Robert? Y'all, is Garrison's name not Garrison? Is the G his middle name? Let me know. Which means he passed. The parents talk about how proud they are of him, but they're scared. But the reality is that he can go into battle and put in harm's way, or he can go into battle, come back and be okay. Janelle says they can come home or not. She just doesn't know. They can go out to battle, come back, look whole, but be emotionally damaged. It's terrifying. Robin talks about how her brother did the National Guard and she hit his paperwork like 2 or 3 times before she hit it because she didn't want him to sign up. She says that she doesn't like the idea of our boys being signed up, but she just needs to be quiet, and she does. It's not your kids. There's only so much you can say. Leon says that they got the picture of Garrison right after, excuse me, sorry y'all for this candy moving all around in my mouth, right after he was sworn in. And they are legitimately, they are legitimately freaked out because of the attack that just happened on Paris. I hope I said Leon. If I did not say Leon, forgive me because it doesn't say Leon in my notes. Leon got the picture right after the attack on Paris, and Leon was freaked out because of what just happened. It scares Leon, but Leon is happy for their brother. Cody says he gets to be a man and go and do man things. Fighting war is not just a man thing, but okay. Christina's crying, saying how proud she is, but it is hard. And Mary says it's a scary thing when you think about those things. And y'all, I know I left out some parts. Put whatever you want to talk about down the bottom. I'm going to try to get back to some of these comments. Y'all, I was such a bad girlfriend yesterday. Like, for real. Valentine's Day was a bust, and it was my fault. I went over and got on the couch. We were supposed to go somewhere, and the dog just started to cuddle up to me, and the next thing I know, I was knocked out. Oops. But I hope you all had a good Valentine's Day. Sorry, this one, was so fast and I sound the way I sound, but I wanted to make sure that you all get something. I did a previous recording, so I know y'all have something for Friday. So this is for Saturday, and hopefully I'll be good by the time Sunday comes around so that I can record for that. If you have not done so already, please like the video, please comment and subscribe. And until next time.